There are 3 Bible verses that changed my life financially more than anything I've ever studied. Not because they're magic, not because I read them once and money just started showing up overnight in a briefcase, but because these 3 verses changed the way I thought. They changed the way that I saw myself, the way I understood God, and the way that I approach money and success and opportunity and inner transformation. And when that changed, my financial reality started changing as well. So in this video, I want to share with you the 3 verses that had the biggest impact on me. And these verses helped me break out of lack, stop identifying with the struggle, and begin studying wealth from the inside out. So the first one is Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So this verse changed everything for me because for a long time, I was doing the exact opposite. I started seeking money first, seeking the proof first, seeking results first, security first. And what that does is it puts you in a state of constantly chasing. You keep looking outside of yourself for the thing that you're looking for stability. And you keep thinking that the next amount of money that's gonna calm you down, the next opportunity, that's gonna make you finally feel safe. You think that the outer world has to move first before you can finally relax. But this verse completely flipped that for me. It says, seek the kingdom first, not money, not approval, not evidence, not for validation, the kingdom. And when I started meditating on that, I realized something deeper, that if I'm supposed to seek the kingdom first, then maybe my job is not to chase money. Maybe my first job is alignment. Maybe my first job is the inner order. Maybe my first job is to get it in my mind, the identity, the faith, the emotional state into harmony with what I say I want in life. And that was a major shift for me because before that, I was approaching wealth from anxiety. I wanted more money, but I was thinking from fear. I wanted abundance, but I was emotionally rooted in lack. And I wanted success, but I was constantly looking for circumstances that were to tell me if I was winning or losing. And that creates inner conflict. And that inner conflict slows everything down. And when I started putting the kingdom first, I started putting peace first. I started putting inner conviction first. I started putting spiritual alignment first. I started putting the state of being first. And this matters because a lot of people are trying to manifest wealth and success, but internally being in chaos. And they say they want abundance, but internally they're desperate. And they say that they trust God, but internally they're terrified. They say they're ready for more, but internally they're still not identifying with enough. So this verse forced me to say, okay, what am I really seeking first? Am I seeking peace? Am I seeking truth first? Am I seeking alignment? Am I still making money my God? Because money was never meant to be first. It was meant to follow. And the more I understood that, the more I stopped living in panic. I stopped putting my emotional life in the hands of my bank account every time I check it. And I stopped letting the numbers define me. I stopped acting like the external world was my source. And when that happened, I became a lot more calm, more centered, more grounded, and much more available for ideas and decisions and opportunities that can actually change my life. Now, the second verse that had the biggest impact on me was Luke 17:21. Neither shall they say, lo here, lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Now, this verse is powerful because it completely changes where you look. Most people are trained to look outside themselves for everything. They look outside for confirmation. They look outside for worth. They look outside for permission. They look outside for signs that something's finally working. But this verse says the kingdom is within. And that means what you need most is not outside of you. The power, the peace, the creative capacity, the divine connection, the deeper source, it's all within. And when I understood that, I stopped living like I was separate from what I desired. But if the kingdom is already within, then the deeper reality is already present before the outer evidence starts showing up. And that changed how I approached manifestation. And don't let that word manifestation scare you away. Manifestation simply means taking an idea that you have and making it real. This chair that I'm sitting in right now was an idea in somebody's mind. They drew it on a sheet of paper, they got inspired, they took action, and then that became a reality. That's all it is. And that also changed the way that I approach prayer. It changed the way that I approached money because I stopped asking from emptiness. I stopped coming from the mindset of I don't have it and I need it and I hope one day it comes. Instead, I started learning how to go within and build the feeling, the identity, the belief, and the assumption that what I was seeking was already alive in me first. And that was huge because once I understood that the kingdom was within, you stop worshiping the circumstances. You stop reacting to every little thing in your outer world. You stop giving so much power to appearance, and you realize that what's happening around you is not greater than what God can do through you. And for me, this showed up in so many ways. I started becoming more intentional with my prayer conversations. I started becoming more protective with my thoughts. And I started paying attention to my emotional state that kept returning every single day. Because if the kingdom is within you, then what am I entertaining within matters? What am I agreeing with internally? What am I rehearsing internally? What am I repeatedly saying to myself when no one else is around? Because that inner world, that inner conversation does matter. Because if your private inner dialogue is full of defeat, fear, delay, doubt, then you're living in a disconnected world from the kingdom. So I had to start changing that. I had to stop telling myself the same broke story. I had to stop mentally repeating the same limitations. And I had to stop speaking to myself like struggle was my identity. And instead, I started moving into a different inner posture. I'm guided, I'm supported. I'm not separate from God's abundance. I'm a royal aristocrat. I'm the child of the Most High. I'm not cut off from increase. And that changed my self-concept deeply, which brings me to my third verse, which is Proverbs 23:7. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Now, this verse may be one of the most important verses on identity, manifestation, success, because it tells you very clearly that your life will be a reflection of the person you're being internally. Not the person that you pretend to be, not the person that you post online, not the person that you say you want to become one day, the person that you actually believe yourself in your heart. Now, that was a wake-up call for me because for a long time, I would say I wanted this or I wanted that. I wanted freedom. I wanted abundance. But then deep down, I still thought of myself as someone trying to survive, trying to get by, hoping one day finally everything will turn around. So as long as that was my identity, then I kept reproducing the same experiences because your life keeps echoing your dominant thought, your self-concept. So if you see yourself as behind, then you're always going to feel behind, and eventually that's going to appear in your world. And if you see yourself as unlucky, then those things are going to continue to happen. If you see yourself as overlooked, then you're always going to be behind. Because wanting wealth is not the same as identifying with it. Wanting peace is not the same as embodying peace. Wanting success is not the same as becoming the version of yourself who can hold success. And that's where everything started to change for me. I stopped reinforcing the old identity. I stopped joking around about being broke. I stopped speaking against my future. I stopped telling myself the same story about how hard everything was. I stopped emotionally attacking myself to lack. And I started building a different inner identity. And I started seeing myself as someone who can create wealth, someone who can receive wealth, someone who can hold wealth, someone who can multiply, someone who is no longer available for that old story. And that matters because once your inner identity changes, your decisions change as well. You stop making moves based on fear. You stop shrinking. You stop hesitating around opportunities that match your level. You stop talking to yourself out of expansion. And little by little, your outer life will start catching up with that inner shift. And that's what happened to me. These three verses work together in a very powerful way. Matthew 6:33 taught me to stop worshiping money and started prioritizing alignment. Luke 17:21 taught me to stop looking outside of myself for the source and started developing an inner world. And Proverbs 23:7 taught me that identity is everything and that you can change that from the inside out. And that combination changed my relationship with money completely. I stopped seeing money as something separate from me spiritually. I stopped seeing abundance as something that I had to feel guilty about. I stopped acting like my current circumstances had the final say. And I started understanding that wealth was an inner foundation. It starts in how you think, it starts in what you believe, what you entertain emotionally, and it starts with what you accept is true about yourself. And one thing I really want to say here is that money often shows up in forms that you may not expect. Sometimes it comes through new opportunities, a business idea, a relationship, a door that may open. Sometimes it might even be an inconvenience, and you might bump into someone and they might introduce you to someone else, or you never know where things go. So you have to be open to receiving these things here. Because if you're still identifying with lack, you'll keep filtering life through lack. And when you receive a blessing, it can feel small, it can feel delayed, or it can feel invisible. And I had to stop forcing one path and started trusting that what was meant for me will come to me in many forms. And I also had to change my relationship with money itself as well, and my bank account. And a lot of people say they want wealth, but then they have a painful emotional reaction every time they see money, or they spend money, or they see somebody else is successful, or when they drive by their bank, or when they check their bank app. That relationship matters, because if every interaction with money activates fear, shame, anger, defeat, then you're basically reinforcing that separation. So I had to change that as well. Even if it doesn't match the number that you like, still, if you're reacting in panic, it's going to reinforce that same story that you keep telling yourself, and then that's going to reflect in your outer world. Instead, start responding differently. Start saying thank you. Start choosing peace. Start remembering that the kingdom is within you. Start reminding yourself that what you're becoming matters more than what you're seeing in this moment. And that's a powerful shift, because gratitude interrupts fear. Faith interrupts panic. And every time those changed, everything else started changing. The decisions, opportunities, consistency, and of course, my results. So if you're in the season where you feel stuck financially, I want to leave you with these 3 verses. Come back to Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Luke 17:21, behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And Proverbs 23:7, for as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Because your financial life is not just about money, it's about your identity, it's about alignment, it's about what you're agreeing with internally every single day. And these 3 verses not just inspired me, they rebuilt me. And when I changed that internally, my life changed externally as well. So if this spoke with you, go ahead and write these 3 verses down, sit with them, meditate on them, not just casually, but really apply them and let them expose the old version of you, because you have to uninstall that old system in order to install a new system in your life. Because the version of you that builds wealth is built within first. And if you're ready to take action, the best place to start is to go to the pinned comment in this video. And right now I have a book on sale, and I'm gonna throw in some bonuses on there as well. And it's 75% off. All of this for less than a cup of coffee for every week for a month. And on top of that, I'm gonna throw in a bunch of bonuses. So see you at the top, all right? If you're serious about changing your financial world and your reality, go ahead and take action, all right? Don't wait. Peace.